Hi guys, I'm Raksha and I'm the director of this episode. We had a lot of fun filming this particular episode and we hope that you liked it as much as we did. But before we sign off, let us know in the comments who you'd like to see next.
Hi everyone, this is Khushi
and this is Janhavi.
We're part of the Podcast Committee of RCL.
We're excited to bring you all this latest episode, so stay tuned.
Hello everyone, welcome. This is the RCL podcast. Today we have an extremely interesting guest. Janhavi, tell us who it is.
So guys, this is Ayush Kushwaha. He's the founder of Tweak Labs. Now what makes this doubly interesting is that he launched a startup which was featured on Shark Tank. So Ayush, tell us, how did you come up with the idea?
So it's all started in college. Me and my other co-founders, we were we were in IIIT Delhi, and IIIT is all about, we do cool shit and we make some good technology because it is much more focused on engineering and all. And we all three, at least me, Anant and Shruta, so we come from a sports background. So obviously, before college, I was involved into sports a lot. But when I came in college, I learned engineering. And during that time, I decided to do something for sports in general, like sports technology, how I can improve the coaching. In general, we see a lot of innovation happening in academics. Like we see the smart classes coming up. But there was not such scenario in coaching. Like everyone was facing problems. Like if I take example in coaching, there was not a proper method of coaching. Coaches don't know how to, tell techniques to the players. And we kind of knew this problem, and in fact, we all of three have played sports at certain stages of our life, and we realized how it's difficult to learn things and make sense out of the coaching itself. So for that, we decided to maybe we can bring technology here and make a proper combination of coaching, and through technology we can make a system which can be accessible to people and all. So this idea actually came from Anant. So he was sitting in a gym, he was doing his workouts. So at that time, there was one guy who came for a survey, like there was some survey going on in colleges. So he was taking a survey about the gym facility itself, how you are interacting with the machines that were available in those environments. And at that time, he got an idea, why do we have to take a feedback from a machine itself, when the feedback can come from your body itself. Yeah, exactly. And if you take all sports activities, there is human movement involved. So what if we can track that human movement and can provide valuable feedback to the players, to the coaches, so that they can work on those insights and can suggest drills for accordingly. So that is where the idea came to make a motion capture suit, because if you can make a affordable, easy to use motion capture suit that can capture all body movements, it can cover each and every kind of activity, not from sports, even physiotherapy, health, in every sector where human movement is involved. So that is where it all started. Now we have focused on the problem of sports because it's the most burning problem in sports. And right now we're working in sports, but the plan is to go to physiotherapy, health, and every section where human movement is essential.
Sounds like a breakthrough. So what sport are you essentially targeting right now?
So right now we are in India, so cricket is the most loved sport. So we are starting with cricket, and we have made the product for fast bowling. We actually deployed the product for fast bowling, and now we are working with the elite coaches and building product for batting as well.
Nice.
That sounds great.
Yeah. And after that we'll shift to gym, other sports as well, as we capture one segment of the market.
Nice.
Yeah, sounds great. Sounds
So
great.
before we dive in to find out what your challenges are, can you like quickly introduce us to your other two founders?
Yeah. So my other two founders are Anand Sharma, he's the CEO of the company, and Shotang Shray, he's the CTO. And there's one professor also involved with us, Aman
Wow.
Panami sir. So like we all started our project in his lab itself. So the initial ideation, how to because we were just students, we don't know how what's entrepreneurship. We were just students
Yeah.
who came to learn.
Right.
That's
And
true, yeah.
and under his guidance we figured how to approach a problem, how to build solution accordingly, because this was a hardcore deep engineering problem. It was not something building a software. Obviously building hardware in India is really tough.
Yeah.
So throughout that process he guided us in that phase. And so yeah, these are my other three co-founders.
Sure, but
So we are total 14 four
yeah.
co-founders. Yeah.
Sounds interesting. So it really sounds like you have a strong support system, but definitely no entrepreneurial journey goes without its challenges and setbacks. And based on the product that you're building, it sounds pretty complex, I must say. So what are the biggest challenges you faced so far?
So the biggest challenge, I would say, that it's a hardware startup. We are doing a hardware startup.
Right.
Like you just go back, like how many hardware startups have came in India? Like it's mostly SaaS based, right? Building hardware in India is a challenge in itself, because
Right.
sometimes software is easy to if you, for example, you face some problem, solution that's available online. But building hardware, that's the most difficult part, because people around you don't know what's the problem and what's the solution for it. So the first 2 years went only in building the hardware itself.
Okay.
Like finding the right components and everything. That was the whole part that we spent in our lab. We figured out how should we crack this out, and that's where it took the major part. And the second thing, when you're building a hardware in India, and obviously I haven't done any other startup yet, so we were just freshers in this entrepreneurial ecosystem.
Yeah.
So we don't have a credibility as I would say other
Right.
founders have.
Correct.
So to build credibility, you need to show traction to the people. But how will you show traction unless you haven't built the product?
Right.
So building product, as well as convincing the VCs that we are really building something
Right.
that can be very valuable to the it will be valuable in future. So that was a time that was fundraising was something that we faced a lot
Correct.
problem. We cracked the technology, but still the fundraising was the main problem,
Definitely.
because obviously at this time there's a funding interest also coming. I mean, startups were not
Absolutely.
giving
Yeah.
funding and all. But at that time, how will you? Because we like pitched to a lot of VCs, and VCs were like, okay, you're doing hardware startup. लेकिन scale कैसे करोगे? How will you scale it? Because in general VCs know how to. They know the protocol of how to scale a SaaS based startup.
Correct.
So like they really, some VCs even said they really believed in their team, but they were
hardware
not.
is like an uncharted territory.
Yeah,
essentially.
exactly. So hardware was is the uncharted territory. Nobody know how it will scale. If I were in China or maybe Taiwan, where the hardware ecosystem has been built, things would be quite easy there, even in US as well.
That makes sense. Yes.
But India has always been the service-based company where we
Right.
build platform and all.
yeah.
But
Absolutely.
building a hardware, it was the tougher job to convince VCs
Right.
about it. But at the same time, we build the hardware, whatever state it was. We started showing demos to the coaches, the elite coaches, and we got a really good response based on that. So we got some really, like, for example, in our team we have the best, I would say the best fast bowling coach in the world. He's from
Wow.
English.
Ah, sounds
So,
great.
so when we got these people on our team, people started believing us. That's where we build credibility.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
that's how the journey is still going on, and we
Yeah.
still
Right.
believe that we will eventually reach the point we wanted
Right.
to.
Yeah, so let's address the elephant in the room, or
Yeah.
rather the shark in the room. Do tell us about your experience with Shark Tank, because I'm sure our viewers are dying to know what goes on behind the scenes. What are the sharks like? Please share your story.
So we were doing we were pitching to VCs as normal as doing the game shows. So during that time, one of our friend told us that Shark Tank is coming to India. So okay, so we were not that serious, but we filled the form anyway. So there was an online form. We filled the form, and there were 50,000 contestants applied for that Shark Tank initially. So there was initial screening which happened in every city. Like there was happening in Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai. In every city there was selected candidates that went for the screening. So the first round of screening happened. It went around like 1.5 hours, and it went really good. And from that, after 2 months, we got the offer that we are going for the stage round. So we were still not very serious about the whole Shark Tank process because it's anyway new in India and we didn't know how things will work. But we were applying to several other accelerator programs. So like there are accelerator programs which tell you how to build startups. What are the challenges? They actually help you in the whole process, even fundraising and everything. So we were
based in India.
Some are based in India, but obviously we were focusing. So there was one accelerator called Hacks. So it was a hardware accelerator program. So it was run both in US and China.
Wow.
So we were supposed to go in US, then China. So we were focusing on that. But they had one competitor, so they didn't want to, they don't want similar companies in their portfolio. See, it was something that didn't work out there.
I mean, that sounds like quite an interesting journey. So now let's address the elephant in the room, or rather the sharks in the room, because I'm really curious to know about your journey to Shark Tank, and I'm sure our viewers are dying to know. How did you get started? What was it like behind the scenes? Please share.
Okay. So, we applied for Shark Tank in mid-June last year. So at that time we were doing our business operation and product development, but one of our friends told that Shark Tank is coming in India, and initially we didn't give much attention to Shark Tank. It was like a normal because we were
correct.
At that time we were anyway knocking VCs and the various accelerator programs, and so this also came and we applied for this as well. So the first round was the online round where 50,000 other starters applied.
So you qualified out of 50,000. Yeah. I mean, that sounds impressive, I must say.
Yeah, I mean, now it's even more tougher, because at that time Shark Tank was nothing. Yeah, nobody knew that it would blow up like this.
True.
But it just we ourselves didn't thought it would blow like this, and it eventually got quite mainstream later on.
True. So you had no idea about any of the judges before this, right?
No, any idea, not an idea. Because initially there was 3 rounds. The first round was the online round.
Yeah.
The second was a screening round that happened in Delhi. There was a hotel in Delhi where all of the contestants which applied from Delhi, they came there.
An offline event.
Obviously, they were the selected contestant from the screening round.
Yeah, right.
And after that, after 2 months, we got a call that we have been qualified for the stage round. So we need to come to Mumbai. Because the stage, obviously the stage round will be set up there.
Right.
So we have to choose at what time we need to come. So obviously our business operations were going around October, November. So we decided to go in December because that is something that is that will be feasible for us. So we opted for the date. So you can opt for the date whenever you want to come.
Oh, okay.
So the shoot was decided on 6th of December.
Okay.
So before that, they called us 5 days earlier to that. So there was a whole rehearsal session that was planned out.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So
5 days of rehearsal?
5 days of rehearsal.
Wow.
So
they
really wanted
intense.
to grill us and wanted to make sure that they make the content pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
So we reached Mumbai as planned, and on the first day so they were various production managers there. There's one for the stage, there's one for the back end of the stage, I would say. Backstage, I would not back end.
Yeah.
That's all right. I mean, you get lost in technical jargon after working in tech.
So from backstage there were several managers which were constantly grilling us what you need to say and all, and there was Ranvijay also. He comes in between and all.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
So Ranvijay was the host there.
Okay.
He was talking and making. It was not a very as sometimes we see in television, right? It's a continuous procedure. Ranvijay comes and asks questions, and then you go to the stage.
True.
It's nothing like that. It's all going parallel. The timelines are totally different.
I mean, TV seems like a different ball game. You never know what goes on behind the scenes, right?
Exactly.
It's like a proper reality show.
Yeah.
So the first day we pitched to one of the production managers about our pitch. So we normally pitch to the other VCs, we pitch it like that only. And they were like, "Ye nahi chalega. You need to spice it up, make it more interesting."
Oh yeah, I mean for the Indian audience after all.
Whole Indian audience is watching you. Make it more interesting.
True.
How can you make it interesting?
Yeah.
So you won't come in television. They like hang a sword like that. You need to do it in that
okay.
way. So, and it happened with everyone. Everyone comes with a slide deck and also.
Right.
So they tell you to make a 2.5. It will be a 3-minute pitch only, but make it like an ad only. You're like pitching.
okay.
You're showing it like an ad.
Yeah.
So like then we come up with a whole new idea. We actually so basically we created a whole skit, like it's a whole act.
Wow.
So the
Okay.
act we showed 2 scenarios where in one scenario there was a old coach who was doing his coaching in his own way, like the old
okay, yeah.
traditional way,
Right.
guessing things around, just giving similar solution to every player. And there was one other coach that was doing the technical. That was taking the technicality. That was taking the information from the tweak system and was giving suggestions to the player. So we also did some fun there also. You must have seen the Shark Tank.
I mean, yeah, that was actually pretty interesting, you know, like showing the old versus new,
Right.
because that's like what gets audiences hooked, right?
Exactly.
And the new with the tech is obviously much
Because
better.
in most of the coaching, because the old coaching, they see how it's happening right now. Like I'm also coming from a cricket background. I played cricket before
wow.
coming to
Yeah.
college and even in college. So I was into that ecosystem. I knew how things happen there. So we kind of showed that. And like you all guys must have seen the Shark Tank,
Right,
which was like
right.
10 to 15 minutes of
Exactly.
Yeah,
But the
exactly.
But
entire
it was like around
Yeah, but-
1.5 hours.
Yeah.
Wow. So it gets edited down to just 10 to 15.
Yeah. I mean, because obviously when we started the pitch,
Yeah.
they start grilling you on every aspect of the business.
Right.
As they should.
And even there are like some competitors come, like everything gets opened up there.
Oh.
Like even like some of the competitors that we not supposed to tell on television, everything gets it's everything discussed in detail there.
Oh, okay.
So I even did the demo there. The demo didn't like it went smooth, but during that time there was some glitch also.
Right.
They all cut it out obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was a 1.5 hour pitch, and like obviously they cut it down to like 10 to 15 minutes, and there was like I was not very satisfied with their editing also. Like there were certain they tried to make the
A
connection.
little bit more
I,
masala.
like
Yeah.
if you see like in between, Ashneet asked कि like this is ये तो बहुत बेकार सूट है, like मैं
Right,
अपना एक
right,
यूज सूट
right.
किसी और को क्यों पहनाऊंगा, like he asked that question.
Yeah.
And like for the first 5 minutes they were constantly like putting questions, and
Oh.
like we answered all of those questions, but they didn't show that.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
suddenly after 8 minutes like Ashneet started giving offers to us. Okay, मैं तुम्हें एक offer देता हूँ 40 lakhs for this, and then the whole thing starts up.
Uh-huh.
So you don't
yeah.
have any say in the editing, right?
No, we don't have any say.
No.
In fact, right before just the telecast was around Feb.
Okay.
So like the production team called us that they lost the screen recording.
Oh no.
Oh
of
my
the
god. Oh my god.
So if you have seen, there was a screen recording that was going on the app.
Yeah, right.
So we actually recreated the whole screen recording for them.
Wow.
Because
Okay,
we
that
obviously
sounds.
because we knew
yeah.
we have captured data on that day, and it was got saved somewhere in the server. We like mined it and then
Yeah.
gave it to them. So like these guys were like they were doing it just 2 days before the production, and like there can be major cuts in our
Wow.
Yeah.
but somehow it got.
So you don't get a preview of the episode?
You're
You're
not
watching it just like
Yeah.
all of us.
Yes,
Wow, that
exactly.
must be very nerve-wracking.
Yeah. How did
Yeah.
you feel like watching yourself on television though?
It
Apart
was-
from all the
it was
masala.
feeling butterflies.
That sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did get an offer though from Aman Gupta. How did that
Hey,
feel?
Aman Gupta didn't give us the offer. So 3 sharks gave us the offer.
Okay.
Ashneer,
Okay.
Anupam, and Piyush Bansal.
Oh, okay.
So they come up with the offer of 60 lakhs for 10%. We asked for 20 crore valuation.
Uh-huh.
So it was like 4% or something. Maybe we
Right.
do the
Alright.
calculation accordingly.
Yeah.
But we asked for 20 crore valuation because for a hardware startup, 60 lakhs is
Is
not
not enough.
much.
That's
We need to
definitely
raise more funds in further rounds. And if you lose a lot of equity in the initial round itself, you won't get funds later on because
Right.
Yeah,
obviously
I
there's
mean,
not
that
much
makes
to
sense.
offer
Yeah.
you, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
There was, I mean, if you consider most of the startups that come in Shark Tank, they are mostly, direct B2C brand, like
True.
the edibles and all.
Yeah,
Now,
true.
Mostly they were, I would say,
B2C companies are the ones that
Huh.
essentially like need advertising per se,
Right,
like
right.
they're building their brand from the ground up.
I mean, and like there was like really, I would say 2 or 3 hardware startup that came, and whatever came, they are not building the technology from the core.
Okay.
You, for example, if I talk about Aman Gupta itself,
Right.
so he white labels his products.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they are like companies in China.
Mm-hmm.
They manufacture headphones and all in mass, and these guys just label it with the board.
Oh, okay.
So they are not actually manufacturing this.
Nice.
Now they have a lot of funds. Now they are setting manufacturing plant in India, but initially they were all white labeling it.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
There was one more startup that came, Hammer. That was also a
Okay.
headphone
Right.
brand. Like, he was
Right.
also white labeling it.
Okay.
Because nobody wants
lot
to.
of insider tea we're getting.
Because
Yeah.
you don't want to get involved yourself in the process of making a hardware, because
Manufacturing, right.
True.
obviously there is no ecosystem in India.
Yeah.
Right.
But like you've done it on your own though, so I guess like that is pretty commendable, I must say.
Initially, so the whatever sensor that you saw on the Shark Tank, that were hand soldered by Anand Sharma. He did all the soldering by
That's a-
himself.
Wow.
Even the
Wow.
smallest
So-
components.
That is
That
great.
was-
Not just engineers, but also
Yeah,
you're
it was.
Yeah.
creative.
Yeah, I mean that sounds amazing
Right.
actually.
So
to
that
build
was
everything.
all hand soldered.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
if you were in China, so there are like facilities you can go there and do it
Right.
there. Obviously, now in India, now we are like manufacturing in India itself. Like,
Right.
we are having our next batch coming this month only,
Okay.
and we figured out some of the new, I would say, ventures which are actually manufacturing in India. Like, there's a company called Napino.
Oh, okay.
So their vision is like, we want to, what China is right now, they want to build something for India as well. So,
Wow.
they want to make hardware startup feasible in India. So
Yeah.
when you are in a mission to do something, you get similar players
Right,
in
right.
That's
that
true.
ecosystem.
That does
That's
make
good.
sense.
And they
Yeah.
respect us a lot, and we respect them a lot,
Wow.
because
That's good.
obviously
That's the most important aspect.
Yeah, that's
of it.
sportsmanship in
Yeah.
sports tech. So yeah, that sounds
I mean,
great.
that's how the ecosystem is building. You
Correct.
need to, because we believe in hardware startups, because we believe the actual, like, everyone is focused on SaaS and all, but we
Yeah.
want to build actual products like Apple,
True.
Right.
like,
Yeah.
which actually impacts people. Like, I would say the longer vision of our company is to like build wearables like which we normally wear.
Right,
Imagine like
Yeah.
a wearable listed in Decathlon.
I mean,
But
wow, that
there's,
sounds
there's
pretty
a normal
interesting.
wearable, there's a smart wearable. You
So
just
smart
wear it,
fabrics,
smart
essentially.
fabrics.
Yeah.
Smart fabrics, and it can be used for sports, it can be used for in general lifestyle. You just wear
Wow.
them and
Yeah.
walk,
Right,
and it'll
right.
tell you all the insides of your body.
Yeah, I mean,
Nobody's tracking
very
that all the
I
time.
mean, like imagine your outfit just telling you your heart rate and everything.
Yeah.
Like that
Exactly.
sounds pretty
That
cool,
would be
right?
really amazing.
Yeah.
If you see wearables, they came to watch. Now they are
Yeah.
trying with rings and all, but nobody's
Uh-huh.
trying to
Wow.
focus on fabric, because
Yeah.
everyone wears clothes, obviously.
Mhm.
Right.
And with
Yeah.
time, the batteries are getting smaller,
Yeah.
sensors are getting smaller.
Uh-huh.
You can
Yeah.
integrate everything on a wearable itself.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds essentially
So, like,
interesting.
our ultimate vision is to go there.
So, as law students, how can we be helpful to entrepreneurs like you?
Okay, so like one of the most, like, I would say, like, problems that most founders face is the legalities of executing things in startups.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
Because as a founder, I want to focus on product building and business development. But the Indian Law Act itself, it's quite confusing. I mean,
It is. Yeah.
if a founder who doesn't know what to do and he start
Stuck.
reading all the clauses and all, he'll just get totally
It's
lost.
basically a maze.
It's
just
very
hectic.
confusing and
Yeah.
all. So what law students can do, they can maybe provide some educational content, how to execute, like, what should be the right thing to do, because
So, counseling.
kind of a counseling
Oh,
setup.
right.
Yeah. Sounds
Okay.
great.
And like, if I talk about our company, what we did in past, so like, probably I won't register our company in India, because
Oh,
there's
okay.
just a lot of confusion in executing those legalities.
Right.
Yeah.
Doing that in US or maybe Singapore, that is much easier. The laws are much more simpler there. So
Okay.
maybe any startup can help other startups figure out those processes easily. That can be very helpful to the ecosystem as well, because most of the founders, they just quit if the legalities are just too confusing and all. Because
true.
you can't do everything now. You
Right.
need
True.
other people to come in. That's how the ecosystem is built. That's how the whole ecosystem works and grows together.
True. So law students, you basically have your startup idea right at your platter. Go for it.
Right.
Yeah.
We're all budding lawyers who are also very interested in entrepreneurship. So, what's the main idea? Like, how did you start right from college? Like, Who pushed you to do that?
So, like, if I talk about myself, I was not very sure about doing entrepreneurship as I went to college.
Right.
So, I think the environment there, obviously, I mean, there were not many startups running there, but
Right.
you need to find people which have a similar vision. Obviously.
Yeah.
So, like, if you want to do entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
so you need to find people that have a similar vision like you, because
Correct.
I think running a company or like running an entrepreneur journey,
Yeah.
It's
like, solopreneur is really good, but at college sometimes it's just really tough. Like there are some friends that are trying to be a solopreneur. I'm just telling them, get at least some like-minded people together, or at least be in a collaboration.
like board members.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when you have a similar vision, there will be failures. So if at least if you're like alone, you will get demotivated a lot, and you will probably quit.
Yes.
Yes.
But at least you have a team, you talk
There's
to each
always
other.
someone to push.
Yeah, there's always someone to push. I mean, we three together, we fit in the like we perfectly fit in.
Puzzle.
Yeah, exactly.
Three pieces.
One handles the
Yeah.
like normally Anand would have come instead of me. Like he does all the talking, like
Oh.
because he's the front facing, and I focus on the product.
Right.
Shatang is making sure everything on the technology side is working. Because like mostly a very deep tech product.
Yeah.
So that's how I think for me I think the environment that makes you do that. And if you want to do if you guys want to do a startup in
Right.
in college, then
Yeah.
probably initially find a group that would make you do that.
Right. True.
Yeah. If it's not in college, you can go outside as well.
Inspiration can strike anywhere.
Yeah,
Essentially.
exactly.
Pushing boundaries is
Yeah.
very important.
True. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much,
Yeah, thank you
Ayush.
so much. This was
This was a
amazing.
beautiful
A very
conversation.
insightful conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We definitely missed Anand and Chatang, but
Yeah.
like I think
Probably next time.
yeah, for
Sure,
sure.
certainly. We'll have you on there next time. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can sign off if you want to say something
Yeah.
towards the
Maybe a 30-second ad for our podcast viewers.
Right.
Thank you guys, and do follow Tweak Labs on Instagram, LinkedIn. We have a lot of new products coming up, and I'm sure these products gonna change the world that we see. I'm sure it's gonna work.
Sure, sounds great.